Hi everybody, I hope you're ready for some music today. Last week we had a look at how you classify instruments, and we talked about woodwind instruments and stringed instruments and brass instruments and percussion instruments, and we had a look at some of those instruments and we listened to the sounds that they make, and we had a bit of a quiz, didn't we? I enjoyed that, so I hope you enjoyed that as well. And this time we're going to have a look at something called an ostinato. Now, I know that your theme is Tremors, and you've been learning about natural disasters, and I thought we would do a descriptive piece of music about a natural disaster, and we're going to use ostinatos to make that piece of music. An ostinato is a repeating pattern. So, if I took my pan and my wooden spoon and I did this, can you hear the repeating pattern in there? That's the ostinato. A repeating pattern, ostinato. It's quite a posh word. You can impress your grown-ups with that word because they might not even know what that means. So, we're going to think of a natural disaster, and I want you to go around your house, see if you can find some things that you can use as instruments and things that you can use to make different sounds, and we're going to create a descriptive piece of music using ostinatos. I have found my pan, which I've already shown you. I thought I might have a go with a cheese grater, because when you hit the cheese grater, it's got quite a different sound to it. You can also scrape it as well. Just be really careful, because sometimes they're a bit sharp, but I thought it made quite a good sound. I've got that. I've got my recorder, because I've got a recorder at home, and you might have a recorder. If you haven't, you can find something different. And I also got a drinks bottle, and I filled it with rice to make a shaker. So I'm sure that would be easy. You don't have to use rice. You could use lentils or some beads, or even hammer beads or aqua beads, something like that. Pop them in there and you can make your own shaker with that. So let me move my instruments to the side. Check my recorder doesn't roll again. I'm going to start with... I'm going to start with the cheese grater. I thought that the natural disaster that I would make a descriptive piece of music about would be an earthquake. So it got me thinking about the kind of sounds that you would hear in an earthquake. Maybe some shaky sounds, maybe some strong winds or something like that, which I thought I could use my recorder for. Maybe some cracking sounds, maybe things moving around and just that wobbliness that an earthquake would make. I thought I might tap into some of our rhythmic notation knowledge. I thought we might talk about the crotchets and the minims and the semibreves and the quavers again. So I'm going to use some of those to help with my music. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my cheese grater, and I am going to play 2 bars with 4 crotchets in them. And it sounds like this. Can you hear those crotchets? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's already an ostinato in there because I've already repeated the 4 crotchets 2 times. But I'm going to actually use different instruments and different rhythms and build up a whole piece of descriptive music that we can actually repeat and turn the whole thing into an ostinato. So I'm going to just start with my cheese grater and my 2 bars of 4 crotchets. Here we go. Okay, that's the beginning. That could almost be the start of the earthquake, a little bit unsettling, like, oh, 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 what's happening? Oh, oh, a little bit like how you feel, that kind of unnerving feeling that something is happening. So that's where we start. Then I'm going to use my recorder. I could imagine it being windy outside. It might not be. It might be windy outside, or you might even hear people shouting or screaming or making noises that mean they're worried about what's going on. I thought I would use a semi-breve for this. So I'm going to do 4 bars, each with 1 semi-breve in. And if you remember, a semi-breve is worth 4 beats. But I thought I'd use my recorder to kind of make a kind of howling sound. So have a listen. Could almost be the cries of people, couldn't it? Wondering what's going on. So let's go back to the beginning. We've got the unnerving sound, the 4 crotchets, 2 bars of 4 crotchets. Now you might notice I'm playing a G. So on our notation, I've actually used the stave and I've put the semi-breve on the G line. If you remember, every good boy deserves fudge. The G is the second line up, and I've put the semi-breve on there to help me remember to play the G. But I'm going to have to work out how I can swap instruments quickly to get to that part. So we've got the unnervingness of the cheese grater. I don't think that's even a word, but the cheese grater making us feel a bit unsettled. The recorder making worried sounds and people wondering what's going on. Then I might have the shaker. And that could be the actual ground shaking, couldn't it? And I've decided that I'm going to use 2 crotchets and a minim. And again, I'm going to do 4 bars of 2 crotchets and a minim. And it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to add that in now. Can you see how my notation is starting to build up? And we're creating our ostinato that we can just repeat over and over again. Right, let's see if I can do it all the way from the beginning. I'm going to have my recorder ready. Here I go. Okay. Then for the last bit, I'm going to use the pan. And I thought I would use quavers for this one, just to show the trembling and how it builds up, and then maybe it might just crack or it might just suddenly stop. So I'm going to use 3 bars of quavers. There's going to be 8 quavers in each bar, because remember, a quaver is half a beat. And then I'm going to finish with a semi-breve on the end, so it'll sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's kind of the end. And because it's an ostinato, we then go right back to the beginning again. So we go back to the crotchets at the beginning and we just repeat the phrase over and over again. Do you think it sounds like an earthquake? I'll have to make sure I try and play them really well so that we can imagine that feeling as we're playing the music or as we're listening to it. Okay, let me see if I can do this. I'm going to get my recorder ready, see if I can pick it up really quick. I'm going to go all the way from the beginning and play the whole phrase, and then I'm going to try and play it again and repeat it as an ostinato. Okay. that was tricky. It's tricky switching instruments. Maybe I made that a bit too complicated for myself, but I wanted to show you what all the possibilities would be. I wanted to kind of inspire you a little bit so that you can have a go at doing this yourself. Now, you don't have to use all of these things. You don't even have to use more than one instrument. What you can do is just do it all on a pan if you wanted to. So I could still play the same rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, it works quite well to get louder at the end, doesn't it? Here's a little thing for you. In music, if you want to get louder, you write an F on the music. And that F stands for forte, and it means to get louder. So I'm going to do that at the end of mine. I'm going to make it get louder as a kind of way of shocking us because there's been an earthquake, but then it's going to start all over again with that ostinato. So I'd like you to have a go at making a piece of descriptive music. You can choose whatever natural disaster you like. I went for an earthquake. A hurricane might work. A storm could work quite well. When you've done it, I would love it if you videoed it and sent it in to me because I'd love to have a look at it. You might even want to FaceTime a friend and see if you could work together on it. That would be easier if there was two of you playing different rhythms, wouldn't there? And then you could take it in turns and build up your ostinato together. I've also got an extra little challenge for you. I know that lots of you are really good at writing songs. I've read some amazing lyrics that you've written, and I've also read some lyrics that you wrote to other songs. And I did wonder whether you fancied having a go at writing some song words as well. You could write it to whatever tune you like. You could choose a song that you already know and change the words. Or you could create your own melody to make a song about maybe a natural disaster. You could think about how people would feel in a natural disaster and maybe use some words to describe that in your lyrics. So if you get a chance to do that as well, you don't have to, but if you get a chance to do that as well, send me a film of that too. That's the kind of thing you might like to do with a friend as well. Or you can just do that on your own. Just give yourself a bit of space to get inspired and think of some words that you could use to write a song about a natural disaster. I'd love to hear them. I'd really look forward to that. Now, I have loved doing music with you guys. We have learnt so much just in the few lessons that we've done. We've learnt about rhythmic notation. That's the crotchets, the minims, the semibreves, the quavers. We've learnt about pitch notation. That's how you write the notes on the lines or in the spaces. We remembered every good boy deserves fudge to help us know the names of the notes on the lines. And we used the word face to help us know the names of the notes in the spaces. We also had a go at classifying instruments. We learnt about woodwind instruments, stringed instruments, brass instruments, and percussion instruments, and even some electronic instruments. And then just now we've learnt that an ostinato is a repeating pattern. We've composed a piece of descriptive music, or you will have by the end of this. And if you really feel like it, we will have also written a song. There's so much learning that we've done, and I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and I really hope that we get to do this again sometime. So I'll look forward to seeing you soon. I'll look forward to hearing your soundscapes when you send them to me, and any songs that you want to write, send them over. I would absolutely love to hear them. So I hope it goes well. Can't wait to hear it. See you soon.